Chapter 7. Running Up That Hill. The next morning, Chomper sat up, blinking the sleep from his eyes. When he glanced to his side, he saw Ruby slumbering beside him, nuzzling close to him. Recalling the events of the night before, he flushed and couldn't believe it. Pulled from his thoughts, he felt Ruby move. "Morning, Chomper," she spoke, sounding all right. "Morning, Ruby. How are you? Last night was something. I didn't hurt you or anything, right?"
"Oh, believe me, Chomper, I'm fine," Ruby said, kissing his cheek. "We'll have to do it again sometime."
"Yeah, we can." He flushed and tapped his claws. "Also, you were delicious."
Ruby blushed. "Why are you so nervous? You were fine."
"It's just, I never knew we could, enjoy such things." To keep himself from rambling on, Ruby gave him a peck on the cheek. "Thanks, Ruby." She laughed and crawled up to sit upon him, leaning forward to kiss him. They were content till Chomper realized they weren't alone, turning to find Screech and Thud gazing upon them with wide eyes. "Guys!" Chomper shouted, sitting up and sending Ruby to the ground. Turning from them to her, he leaned over to see if she was all right. "Ruby! Ruby! Are you okay?" The pair of fast biters only shook their heads, not caring what was said between the pair. It was clear to them the pair were more than friends, caring deeply for each other and obviously in love.
"How long were they there?"
"I don't know, but I should go."
"Okay, see you later."
She rose and headed to where the waterfall was, leaving the three. Chomper cleared his throat and joined the pair to train for the day. While they walked, Screech held a wide grin.
"So, have a good sleep there, boss?"
"Yeah, it was nice," Chomper answered innocently, unaware of what Screech meant.
"Oh, I'm sure it was,"
said Screech, enjoying the joke even more, given the jab went right over Chomper's head. "Okay, what are you getting at?" Chomper paused and realized what Screech meant, flushing and hoping they didn't put two and two together.
"Are you kidding? You two smelled of intimate tension since the moment Thud and I got here. It was practically stinking up the whole island. I'm just glad you got it over with and we no longer have to endure that stench."
"You know, that's personal and none of your business." Eyebrows moving up and down, Screech asked,
"But it was good, right?"
Rolling his eyes, Chomper threw his arm out, sending Screech into a creek. Screech sat up, sputtering water and laughing.
"Ha! You got it good!"
"Pay him no attention, boss. He's a weird one." While Thud was the calmest, he was a bit curious. Not to be rude, but how did you two even... Thud found himself being lifted and thrown beside Screech, who continued to chuckle. Wiping the water from his eyes, he shook his head. "Guess we won't be asking about that again." With the teasing and questioning put aside, they got serious. The training went by fast, Chomper able to lift 2 to 3 items at once, focusing and flinging a few things at the pair when they questioned his relation with Ruby the previous evening. "If you don't stop asking me, I'll place you even higher next time." Having enough of the smart-mouthed comments, Chomper placed the pair on a limb and stormed off.
"We'll see you around, lover boy."
Holding his arms around himself, Screech made kissing sounds. "Try not to wear yourself out too much tonight, boss," called Thud, slapping Screech, who tumbled off the limb and into a shrub, continuing to laugh. Their giggles faded the farther he went, Chomper going to see what Ruby was up to. She tidied up the nest, fixing it for another evening. When he saw her, he paused, hearing the voice, wishing it'd go away, yet it never did. "Ah." With a heavy sigh, he went about his business, pretending not to hear it. "Hey, Ruby, care to go for a walk?"
"Sure, sounds nice."
The rest of the day, the pair talked and simply enjoyed one another's company. Through the jungle they went, going to the area where their sweet bubbles grew. Ruby plucked a cluster and ate upon it, chewing and enjoying the sweet taste. While they smelled nice, Chomper didn't touch them, standing idly by while Ruby enjoyed herself.
These are delicious. Delightful they are.
Wish I could say I like them.
So, about these challengers, are you worried?
Ruby saw him shuffle, clearly concerned.
I know it's been on your mind, the fear of facing someone.
I wish I'd never become the alpha. It's been nothing but trouble.
Can't you just give the alpha spot to this guy? Pass the title to him?
With a smile, Chomper reached out to brush Ruby's cheek. If only it were that easy. But there's no other way. There are certain rules to abide by. That I must fight to uphold my title, to keep my position. That's how it goes. How it must be.
You'll beat whomever they are. I know it. Feel it. Besides, if you think about it, you've realized we finally accomplished our dream of saving the mysterious Beyond from Redclaw.
Oh, I never thought of it like that.
Well, I have. With you as Alpha, you can make some changes, positive ones.
Thanks, Ruby. You always know what to say to make me feel better. Chomper took in a breath, picking up on something odd. That's weird. Taking another inhale, he knew what it was. Something's off. Wait here. Maybe head to the stinky place. I'll check it out. Ruby gave a nod and went to where the smelly flowers were, knowing it'd musk her scent should a Sharptooth invade the island. Since Chomper got word of danger, they practiced drills, preparing for the worst. Moving through the thicket, she smelled something odd. Peering out, she held her breath. Above the trees, a cloud rose, a plume of black smoke, meaning there was fire.
But there wasn't even a storm. No skyfire could have caused this.
Ruby spoke aloud, seeing the flames dance and consume the green land quickly.
Chomper,
she whispered, hoping he wasn't too far. At that very moment, Chomper ran through the jungle, smelling smoke and trying to find Screech and Thud. Guys, where are you? He called, stopping when a sea of fire crossed his path. A tree toppled over, covered in flames. Boss, look above, cried Thud, scampering over a rock and glancing upward at a strange sight. Chomper tilted his head, seeing what looked to be a flying Sharptooth. A single one circled the island, torch and taloned feet. The pink flyer dove fast, scraping the flames over the tops of the trees, lighting them up in an instant. The glow reflected in Chomper's wide eyes, glancing back to where he left Ruby. Ruby! Ruby, can you hear me? Chomper shouted, feet pounding against the ground. He moved as fast as he could, seeing the flames take over the island paradise. Ruby! Ruby, where are you? On either side of Chomper, Screech and Thud followed, scanning for the fast runner. Boss, we'll split up and try to find her. Swiftly, the pair dashed off, moving faster than Chomper, able to cover more ground, though it was shrinking due to the fire. Within the fire, Ruby held large leaves over her mouth, coughing and trying to find her way out.
Chomper! Chomper, where are you?
Yelling, she tried to find her way through the thick smoke, head lowered to keep from inhaling too much. Outside the blaze, Screech and Thud had little luck locating Ruby, moving in and out, weaving between the flames and clear ground. Coughing, they saw nothing, only burnt brush and trees. Screech wasn't one to show concern for others, but turning up empty-handed made him frown with fear. Thud, what do we do if we don't find her? What if the flames devour her? We mustn't dwell on the bad thoughts. Thud placed a hand on Screech's shoulder, waving the smoke from his face. Come on, let's keep looking. Pressing on, Screech and Thud made off into the smoke, fading into mere shapes before vanishing completely. Shoveling dirt with his massive feet to douse the flames, Chomper's calls grew more desperate, tears running down his face. Ruby! Huffing, he saw bits of debris float by, smoke rising high into the sky. If only Skywater would fall, it'd kill the fire and save his home and Ruby from the growing danger. Fire was the greatest enemy to all kinds of life. Regardless of flat or sharp teeth, it'd kill any who stood in its path. Scanning right to left, Chomper saw only the death of his home. Trees burnt, the flames flickering upon the dark bark. The leaves and brush were covered in orange and red, moving quickly and covering more ground than Chomper could. If only it were him instead of Ruby who was trapped within the flames, that he could bargain with death to take her place, swap his life for hers. It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know that it doesn't hurt me? Do you want to hear about the deal that I'm making? It's you. It's you and me, yeah. And if I only could, I'd make a deal with death. And I'd get him to swap our places. Be running up that path. Be running up that hill. Be running up those mountains. Say if I only could. You don't want to hurt me, but see how deep the wound lies. Unaware I'm tearing you asunder. There is thunder in our hearts. Is there so much hate for the ones we love? And tell me we both matter, don't we? It's you. It's you and me, yeah. It's you and me, won't be unhappy. And if I only could, I'd make a deal with death. And I'd get him to swap our places. Be running up that path. Be running up that hill. Be running up those mountains. Say if I only could. It's you. It's you and me, yeah. It's you and me, won't be unhappy. Oh, come on, baby. Come on, darling. Let me steal this moment from you now. Oh, come on, Ruby. Come on, darling. Let's exchange the experience. And if I only could, I'd make a deal with death. And I'd get him to swap our places. Be running up that path. Be running up that hill. Be running up those mountains. Say if I only could. With no problems. Finding it harder and harder to move, Ruby's vision blurred, tumbling and struggling to breathe. Not knowing if she was seeing clearly, there was a gap, space enough for her to get through. The question was, would she be able to make it, be fast enough to reach it? Pushing herself to take a step, she made out a tall figure awaiting her on the other side, turning out to be Chomper. Chomper! She called in a weak voice, reaching out to him. Looking for any place to get in, Chomper saw it, an opening, maybe big enough for him to enter and try to find Ruby. When he got there, he was shocked by what he saw, for within, and across a good ways, was none other than Ruby. She staggered left to right, clearly taken in too much smoke, and was finding it hard to move. His heart skipped a beat, terrified for her safety. "Ruby!" She glanced at him, making her way over, slowly, arm reaching out towards him. When he tried to enter, a limb fell and almost struck him, forcing him to hang back and watch, helpless to reach her. With a deep breath, he went to enter, only for something to hold him back. On either side of him was Screech and Thud, pushing his legs, keeping him in place. "No, boss! It's too dangerous! You'll never reach her in time!" "I have to try!" Chomper didn't want to step on them, knowing he could hurt them given the size difference. "Let me pass!" "This is for your own good, you fool!" Screech yelled, seeing Ruby struggle to escape. "Ruby!" Chomper yelled, tears streaming down his face, feeling the pair dig their claws into him, forcing him away from the wall of fire. Then it hit him how he could help. Within the sea of flames, Ruby found herself collapsing, trembling, and seeing the fast biters hold Chomper back, protecting him from making a foolish mistake. In some small way, she was relieved, for she didn't want him to risk his life and die for her. Then she heard it, his sorrowful calls, urging her to rise, to run. Just as she gave him strength, in him she got the energy, enough to get back up. Huffing, she dashed for it, heading right for the opening, seeing it get smaller and smaller, knowing there'd be a slim chance she'd get through. Still, she had to try, to show she wasn't giving up easily. Feet pattering, breath short, smoke flowing all around, intense heat. It seemed the world was caving in around her. Somehow the circle was forced to remain open, Chomper standing, blood falling from his nose while he yelled. Pushing off, Ruby threw herself through the small circle of flames, tumbling along the ground and resting, coughing and trying to get air. Behind her, the flames closed the space, and she was amazed to be alive. Chomper peered down at her, reaching out to cup her face in his hands. "Ruby, can you hear me? Please don't leave me." Kneeling, he took her in his arms, hearing her short breaths. "You're okay. I'm here. I'm here." He grasped her tightly, shaking while tears ran down his face.
"Chomper?"
Ruby said in a small voice, gazing up with tired eyes.
How did you stop the flames?"
Leaning into him, she passed out before he could tell her. Down from the dark skies, the flyer laughed, Chomper leaping up to try and bite it. Flapping it, it moved back out of his reach.
"This is only a taste of what awaits you. The real Alpha wanted me to deliver a message to you, that if the food survives, it'll be next to die. Your home, all that you care about, will be gone."
"Where is he? Why hasn't he come to fight me?"
"My leader likes to toy with their enemies, especially the weaker ones. So long, suckers!"
Without another word, the flyer took off, going to the mainland. "What do we do now?" Thud asked, glancing from the burning island to Chomper. "There's no choice. We have to leave for somewhere safer, a place where Sharptooth can't enter." Chomper led the way to the land path, and they crossed it. Walking along, Chomper took one last look, seeing his home burn out of control, knowing there was nothing he could do. Eyes glassy, he pressed on and knew exactly where they needed to go.